through deliberation, living deliberately. You get to taste the profundity of liberation. We are back. And that was a triple dab with, for the YouTube watchers, you just enjoyed a triple dab with 3 shots from my Texas 6-shooters. So I got a couple bullets left. And I'm going to save them for this reflection, because this one is about as helpful as they come. You hear a lot of conjecture online, a lot of podcasts hosts, a lot of big personalities talk about the value of morning routines. And some people, they hate this topic. They're like, nah, I don't want to talk about morning routines. I just want to fly by the seat of my pants every day, do something different. And that might be the season in life you're in where you just want to try a whole bunch of different things. But what does a timeless 5,000 plus year old philosophy in Vedanta say about our approach to our daily lives? Well, it says the exact same thing all of the neuroscientists with their podcasts and the research has been saying for the last few years on YouTube and Instagram Reels and TikToks. And that is this: inner peace and inner liberation comes from a standardization in our approach to the outside world. Standardization is the word that Swami will use most often. And by the way, 15-second shout out to the Vedanta World app that in the show notes, or if you just look it up in the App Store, Vedanta World, you can tap into the exact same lectures that I'm watching every morning, that the ashram is tuning into every day. It's crazy, just from the convenience of your couch, from your phone. You can get the real thing, because this whole podcast project it's just an ancillary on-ramp to tell you about the real thing. Swami and his lectures and his books, Vedanta Treatise being the book. So that's a slight 15-second aside, even though really this whole podcast is the aside. That's the real thing. But Swami uses this word standardization over and over and over again to hammer home the eternal principle of the value of finding rhythms in your day. The ashram, to a Vedantin, there aren't even weekends. It's the same thing every day. I'll tell you a little bit about the practical side and then the philosophical side. The practical side, some of the best advice I ever got in my life was from a sleep doctor that said, wake up every morning at the exact same time. And the reason is you have a 24-hour circadian rhythm within our biological, chronological approach to life. You have 24-hour circadian rhythm that knows to release cortisol at this time to wake you up at that time, to release melatonin at this time so that you easily fall asleep at that time. And it's 24 hours. It's not, circadian rhythm isn't just the 7 or 8 hours that you're asleep. And to get into that rhythm, she said, and this changed my life profoundly. To get into that rhythm, wake up every morning at the exact same time. Don't wake up at 6 one day, 7:30 the next day, sleep until 10 on the weekends, because your body is thrown around and has no idea when to release cortisol to help you naturally wake up. It starts to release about 30 minutes before you naturally wake up. She said, if you do that for 8 days, by day 9, you won't need an alarm clock. You'll naturally start to wake up at that time, and you'll be able to get into your rhythm in life 15 minutes after waking up. Instead of wake up at different times and it takes 2 hours, you got to get to coffee, you got to get this perfect thing set up. You wait 90 minutes, 2 hours, and then you're ready to go. She said, by day 9, you'll just fall into flow within about 15 minutes. This is so related to yesterday's episode on flow and freedom as well. And it's so relevant to us kicking off into a new year with 2025. Standardization. That's the practical side of just how we're created and our natural biology around standardization. What does this timeless philosophy say about standardization? It says to go way further than that. That liberation is through deliberation. Living deliberately. Wake up every morning at the same time? Yes. And if you need to, once a week, catch up on sleep. That doesn't actually throw you off too much, just FYI. But if you keep, for the most part, to that habit of waking up every morning at the same time, if you keep to the habit of, all right, these are my 6 or 7 different outfits. This is the pen I like to write with, down to this is the notebook that I really like using, or the device, the iPad or the computer that I really like using. You start to form these beautiful rhythms in life because you're not using all kinds of extra energy to solve brand new problems that you're introducing into your life over and over again by building out unstructured start, middle, or end to your day. If you take a different commute to work each day, and that might solve running a different path each day, that could be great for solving a different problem, adding something new or novel to what could otherwise be a boring run. That's totally fair, solving something else. But imagine taking a completely different approach to work each day in your commute. You'd never find the efficiencies and the rhythms of, all right, I turn here, go straight for 8 miles, and then I turn 3 more times. If you build that rhythm, that unconscious competency is what it's called in performance psychology. You build this unconscious competency of just knowing this is my commute. Now I can spend time solving bigger problems rather than wondering, do I turn here or there every morning? You build this rhythm where you can use your mind and your intellect to solve vastly more important problems than figuring out, okay, do I even like this pen? I think I know how to use this device, but now I got to re-download this. I got to log in again to these 3 things. If you standardize, you just fall into a rhythm. You got 6 different outfits. You're not spending 7, 8, 15, 20 minutes thinking about what to wear, another 20, 30 minutes thinking, do I even like this outfit? Standardize. And if you standardize these things, it's like an instrument. You get really good at that instrument versus playing piano one day, drums the next, harpsichord day after that. You got a harmonica in your hands on the 4th day, and you actually never build a rhythm with that instrument, with your approach to what you're really aiming to do, because you're constantly at the beginner's level trying to figure out the basics. You're worried about where your hand should go instead of higher level problems that you get to focus on, that you get to spend your mental, intellectual energy on, when the basics are routinized, routine, standardized. It's not just something like Steve Jobs wearing the same thing each day, being cool or hip for founders. It's actually quite a timeless principle to standardize structure to your day and your approach to life. So you have all of this freedom to focus your energy on the bigger order, the higher order problems you really want to solve for yourself, for your community. It is tied to the principle that we've talked about on this podcast before of liberation through deliberation. It's paradoxical because we think freedom is just free flowing in all directions, but like a river that would flow in all directions, it would have no power, nothing to sustain its flow, and it would dissipate. Similarly, through deliberation, living deliberately, you get to taste the profundity of liberation. At least that's what this philosophy has been saying for thousands of years. And that's today's reflection on the daily Vedantic. It's a good one as we kick off the beginning of a new year. We'll see you next time.